let's talk about an issue that's very close to me and my lineage and my family. For some of you that know or don't know, my mother is Armenian, Diana Bogosyan. Mom John, if you're listening to this, first language I spoke was Armenian and then Assyrian. My dad is Assyrian, Asori. BetDavid, the house of David. Beta, Surayvin, and a baby Surayli Yemi Adam Netela. Hayranam Khosum, Barskiranam Khosum, Asaranam Khosum. The other, I got a phone call, and I was talking to the actor of the new movie coming out on Apple called Tehran. Have you guys seen this Tehran? I watched the whole thing. I think the 5th one's coming out this Friday. So the main actor has been sending me messages for a couple months on Instagram, and I've not been following it. The main guy that's interrogating everybody whose wife has a surgery, all that goes to Paris. So he sent him, I was like, I'll get to it. I don't know what he's talking about. I honestly have no clue what he's talking about. Then I watch that Tehran comes up, and I'm watching, I'm like, wow. Then I see his name come, and he said, that's my movie's out. Have you seen it? I said, that's you? So what a great job he did acting. I was so impressed. He said, do you speak Farsi? I said, I can speak 90%. I understand what they're saying. من یکم فارسی حرف میزنم. خواهرم با پسر آقای ثابتیمانی ازدواج کردن. So فارسی من باید بهتر بشه. So I speak Armenian, first language, Assyrian, second language, Farsi, third language. Then you have a German, fourth language, and then it's English. I took EFL.
You speak 5 languages.
German, I can understand if you speak to me. I can't speak it. Okay, I understand it, but I can't speak it. So Armenia and Azerbaijan, full out war right now. Hundreds of people have been killed. We are officially on the 9th day that this is taking place. If you're following this, protesting's been going on now for quite some time. In Glendale, there were a lot of peaceful protesting going on with Armenians yesterday. A few days ago, Armenians went on the 101 freeway on both sides, holding up the Armenian flag, saying, we got to bring attention to this event that's taking place in Armenia right now. And, eventually yesterday in LA, the councilman came out, Mayor Garcetti sent a video, they gave a statement. All of them were wearing Armenian masks. If you haven't seen that, Kai, if you want to pull it up, LA councilman, Armenia mask, if you want to put that up. It should show up, Armenia mask. This was just literally yesterday. Yeah, right there. If you go to images, this was yesterday. So they gave a talk and they all had the Armenia mask to represent what's taking place. So what is really going on? Let's talk about a little bit of the details of what's really going on. I want to hear your inputs as well with this challenge. So I had a conversation with Eric Israelian, who is the producer of the movie The Promise. If you've not seen the movie The Promise, you got to go watch The Promise. The Promise, this was the last project that Kirk Kerkorian did before he died. He wanted to make sure the story of the Armenian genocide was told. And so he said, I don't care how much money we spent, I want to be able to do this movie. Guess who's the leading actor? Christian Bale. He crushes it. If you've not seen it, you got to go watch The Promise. Kai, can we put the link below for people to see The Promise IMDb so they can go watch it for themselves?
Pull up
I talked to Eric yesterday
Kai.
for a good hour. Him and I spoke for a good hour. Eric's a doctor. He's done great things. He's also the producer of the movie. We had very interesting conversations together. Last week on Sunday, I got a call from Armenia with the head of press of Nikol Pashinyan. We had a good 20, 30-minute conversation together. We're trying to schedule time for us to interview Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister of Armenia. But let's talk about a little bit of the events, timeline of what really took place. In 1923, Stalin, when he was the acting commissar of nationalities, decided to make Karabakh region an autonomous oblast of Soviet Azerbaijan. Okay, 1923, that's what Stalin did. So meaning, it's the property and under control of Azerbaijan, but it's led by Armenians with a community that they have. The current conflict began in 1988 when Karabakh Armenians demanded that Karabakh be transferred to Soviet Azerbaijan, from Soviet Azerbaijan to Soviet Armenia, meaning it was under Soviet Azerbaijan. The Armenians from Karabakh says, we want to be moved over to Soviet Armenia. Why? Because as the Soviet Union weakened, Armenian population did not want to remain within the Azerbaijan and declared independence in 1991. Obviously, there was guerrilla warfare from 1988 to 1991. It wasn't pretty. It was very ugly. Led to a full-on war in the early 90s, full-on war. And in the late 1991 to 1992, Armenians in Karabakh were targeted for months-long campaign of intentional civilian bombardment and blockade by Azerbaijan, shelling, sniper shooting, aerial attacks, killed and maimed hundreds of civilians, wounded, hurt them a lot. Ceasefire signed in 1994 that brought 2 decades of war that's going on back and forth, a little bit to stability. This is 1994, okay, 1994, which is 26 years ago. April 2016, there was a 4-day escalation. Again, war, ugliness for 4 days. Very ugly. Going back and forth. People dying left and right. The deadliest ceasefire violation until 2020 crisis, which is now. So now it's been 9 days. We have two sides. One side, Azerbaijani president, Ilya Aliyev, who's done a lot of different interviews lately. He is saying, this is our land, this is ours, they're not going to get it, and if you want to come get it, we're not going to let you have it. Armenia, on the other side, is saying that Azerbaijan attacked first, and they started this, so Armenia has to defend themselves, and Pashinyan, Prime Minister, like, listen, we're not going to sit here and let you do whatever you want to do to our people. We have to defend our people. So they've gone back and forth, and it's very technical, it's very complicated. You know, there is, on one end, you got Armenia, that is somewhat protected by Russia. You know, the Prime Minister has had conversations with the Prime Minister of France, the leaders of Iran. Twice he talked to Putin, Prime Minister Pashinyan has. And Russia kind of protects Armenia, and somewhat Iran protects Armenia as well, because they're right there in the Caspian Sea. And then Azerbaijan is protected by Turkey, and also a little bit of Israel because the oil business that they have, and Turkey because Turkey is Muslim. Armenia is 96% Christian. Azerbaijan is 91% Muslim. Population to population, I think Armenia is 2.9 million. Azerbaijan is 10.3 million. Armenia's military budget is like 1.7 billion. Azerbaijan's military budget annual is like 2.9 billion. It's twice the amount of military budget. So Azerbaijan threatened to attack Armenia's nuclear plant. This is going back and forth. It's not really pretty. Some of the videos you see are very, very ugly on what's going on. But Russia can stop this. But they can't, they haven't yet, because they do business with Turkey and they sell them weapons. So they are a customer. So there are multiple parties that can stop this, but they haven't yet. US, Russia, and Turkey can stop this right away if they wanted to, but they haven't yet. Mm-hmm. Why? Each have their own interest. US isn't, because US asked Armenia to stop doing business with Iran. Even though we put sanctions, you still are. And Armenia says, what do you want us to do? They're our neighbors. You want me to say no to them? I share Caspian Sea with these guys. Right across it, we're neighbors. I have to have good relation with my side. Turkey isn't doing it because Turkey's never liked Armenia. You know, Turkey's have wanted to make Armenians disappear for the longest time. Erdogan cannot stand Armenians. He's publicly criticized them regularly. And then on the other side, Russia's kind of in the middle saying, listen, man, we're kind of like the co-chair, and we're watching this with a couple of different nations that were the co-chair. I can't fully get involved, but really they can't. If Russia, US, and Turkey wanted to stop this, they could do it today, but they haven't yet. Mm-hmm. So I got more things I want to talk about with this, but I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I know you guys have done some research as well.
Sure.
Where are you at with what's going on over there?
I don't claim to be an expert, but you know, this thing's only 9 or 10 days old. But if you look at the history, here's the thing that scares about me: Turkey. I mean, you mentioned that the fact that they're not going to, and they're right there, and they're the ones that are going to escalate this thing and make it way worse. I'd love to see a situation where the U.S. would step in and help out. I think that he could probably take care of this rather quickly. Do the Armenians have enough support here to get the attention of the people they need to step in and do something? Because I could see this is one of those battles that if you don't have the U.S. getting involved, I mean, this is going to get bloodier and deadlier and go on and on and on unless someone steps in. What do you think the end game is? I mean, can they defend themselves? I mean, do they have the ability over the long term without some sort of assistance?
I don't think so. Not by themselves. No, because here's the thing. They need somebody to back them up. They 100% need somebody to back them up. Azerbaijan is twice the size, military budget, 3 times population-wise, and Turkey 100% has come out and said we're supporting them. No one has come out and say we are fully supporting Armenia like Turkey's supporting Azerbaijan. Here's what you need to know about militaries. You know who's the strongest military in the Middle East?
Turkey.
Turkey, number 1, above everybody.
Exactly.
So you got the biggest military backing you up. You need somebody of a superpower to back you up. And Armenia hasn't had that yet. But I know for a fact both the U.S. and Russia can stop it. Armenia just went into a dealing with China, $15 billion investment going into Armenia. So Trump is probably not too comfortable with that. And the bigger concern for U.S. is more Iran than it is anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing here is because, you know, you might have people saying, well, what do I care about Armenia and Azerbaijan? I've never even heard of Azerbaijan. What happened in World War I? Did you really care about what happened in Hungary and Austria-Hungary and Serbia? But the potential for a powder keg is what scares me. This is right in the Middle East. If you don't know where Armenia is and Azerbaijan, it's just north of Iran, just south of Georgia, which is bordering Russia, just east of Turkey, right?
Can you pull up the map?
Yeah, let's pull up a map. But the last thing that we need here is a powder keg to go off and the entanglement that's going on. I mean, you were trying to explain it. You have Turkey supporting Azerbaijan. You have Iran that's playing on both sides. You have U.S. here. Then you have Russia that's kind of playing both sides. Israel has relations with Azerbaijan because they've sold them weapons and they have oil. But now you have people in Israel saying, we can't support these people. We can't do this. The biggest concern for me is this guy Erdogan in Turkey. This guy is a strong man of strong men, okay? And he's just trying to consolidate power. And he's going to be the president of Turkey for quite some time. And the rhetoric that comes out of his mouth is actually crazy. And then you have the, how do you say his name? Ilham Aliyev?
Yep.
This guy. So I've looked at some of his quotes. These are the types of quotes. These are the types of the way of thinking.
Do you have his tweet up, Kai?
Yeah.
Do you have his tweet?
I'm going to read that. This is the type of thinking that is very, very dangerous. I'll wait for you to pull it up, Kai. He says, Armenia is not even a colony. It is not even worthy of being a servant. This is a president of Azerbaijan, yeah? This is the type of mentality that you can't even respect your bordering country. You can't even respect your fellow man. They're not even worthy of being a servant. This is like when you have the Iranian, the people that run Iran. What do you call them? Sheiks? What are they? What are the people who?
Mullahs.
The mullahs. The mullahs who says like death to America. They're less than rodents. Like this type of talk, this type of mentality is very, very dangerous. Somebody needs to step in. And whether it's the United States, I don't know if it's Trump's responsibility or if this is Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, somebody needs to step in and end this conflict before it gets out of hand and this powder keg explodes in the middle of the freaking craziest place on the planet, the Middle East.
Can I ask you a question?
Step in.
Sure.
Okay, I got to imagine the Armenians feel incredibly vulnerable and on an island. Like no one's there to support them, right? Are they susceptible to China doing more? Could China see this as a way to escalate tensions?
I was thinking about that just the other day. Yes, they can see this as an opportunity for them to win
That's
loyalty
how I see
right
it,
now.
yeah.
So exactly where you're going is a concern. Here's one thing you need to know about Armenians. Armenians, they're not going to back down, period. You know, if you go back to history, I'm half Armenian, half Assyrian. You know what's the debate on both sides? Which one's the first Christian? Armenians say they're the first Christian, the Assyrians say they're the first Christians. But historically, you know, say Armenians are the first Christians. They are some of the proudest people you'll ever meet, okay? Smartest, proudest. The Silicon Valley of Russia is in Armenia. They are producing some of the best engineers. When we're hiring engineer firms and we want to hire folks to do coding for us, you're going to guess your best of the best is going to be in Armenia for you today. And this is not just me telling you this. You can go around the nation and talk to people that you hire to produce stuff for you. They're going to say, we have our engineers working for us from Armenia. They're building that kind of a reputation for themselves right now in Armenia. However, unfortunately, they are in a situation right now that they need allies. They need somebody to come in and help them out. And it has to be, if U.S. comes out and says, hey, Turkey, what are you doing defending Azerbaijan? It is a form of defending the Armenian genocide. Erdogan has said, if you come out and say Armenian genocide is an event that actually happened, we're going to go ahead and make sure whatever we can do to eliminate your 3 military bases that you have in Turkey. And Armenia, U.S. has 3 military bases in Turkey. The most complicated personality here is exactly who you said. It's Erdogan. Listen, they can't stand Armenians. They cannot stand Armenians to save their lives. If there is a nation that they cannot stand, it is Armenians. But if there's a nation that I can tell you from personal, knowing the history, you got fighters above fighters. They're not going to back down. There's no way in the world Armenians are going to back down. And you're starting to kind of see a glimpse of it all over the place. By the way, here's what's interesting. Do you know when's the last time the two of them were in the same room together?
Like negotiating or what?
Do you know when's the last time they were in the same room together? Type in Ilayev and Pashinyan.
It wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, it was a year and a half ago. If you know how to pronounce, spell the name, right there. Type in, and then type in Aliyev. Look at just go down and that name will pop up. Kai, just go down, that name will pop up. Okay, good. and then type in next to it Pashinyan. Pashinyan, January 19th, I think January 22nd, press images, right there. That's January 22nd, 2019. They were at the Davos together, having a conversation. A year and a half later.
Who is this right here?
That's Ilayev, and that's Pashinyan. That's Armenia, Prime Minister, and that's the President of Azerbaijan.
A year and
a half ago. They're sitting there having a conversation together. Okay, look at that. Can you tell how comfortable that is?
Yeah. On the right is Armenia.
Armenia, on the left is Azerbaijan.
He looks exactly like Erdogan, by the way.
By the way, here's the craziest thing. Check this out. His background, just so you know, little details. Pashinyan's background. He was a journalist, okay? The first company he came out with as a journalist, a year later they shut it down. Then he ended up working for Armenia Times for quite some time. And when he was writing, he came out publicly disagreeing with the way the president, the military leader at the time was doing. Because of that, he went to jail for 1 year. So he ended up going to jail, okay? He comes back, he's writing for Armenia Times as he's going about his business, and he gets controversial. He doesn't support the first president, he supports the second president. Eventually, he ends up running democracy, all this stuff. And the closest comparison I'm going to make to him is Trump. Let me explain to you why. This will kind of make sense to you. So he's being interviewed by BBC. And the guy from BBC asked him, he said, the reporter from BBC asks him and says, why is it that ever since you got elected, there's so much protesting and rioting going against you? He says, because under democracy, you can protest against me. Prior to me, you couldn't protest against the president. I want to allow democracy. So then I was like, okay, but why is it that when what do you call it? They're coming out and telling you that you cannot be, it's the back and forth. Here you go. He comes out and he says, why is it that the UN General Assembly demands the immediate complete exit of all Armenian forces from the occupied territories of Republic of Azerbaijan? How come you haven't listened to it? He says, I'm not going to let Armenians being killed. Okay, what do you want us to do? You want us to sit around? This guy is a true believer of bringing democracy in Armenia. Then they bash him because of COVID. They said, why is it that the number of cases you had is 6 times more than Georgia and way more than Azerbaijan? Every single criticism he's getting is the one that Trump had. Every single. More protesting, hey, you're getting more protesting. More COVID, hey, you're getting more COVID. You're not handling it well, right? Every single. He went to a party that was taking place during COVID, and there was 600 people there, and nobody was wearing a mask, and everybody's like, hey, wait a minute, how come you didn't have a mask on? He says, because the region I was in, you didn't have to wear a mask. And on the complete opposite side, Armenia since 1994 has had 4 presidents. Armenia since 1994 has had 4 presidents. Do you know the same family has led Azerbaijan since 1994? Let me say this one more time.
Imperialist.
Exactly. So you got nepotism, imperialism. Essentially, since 94 Azerbaijan, Armenia, 4 presidents, democracy since 1994. People are choosing their leader. Azerbaijan, the people are not choosing their leader. So Pashinyan is making the argument saying, listen, the people voted me in, but not in Azerbaijan. The families voted people in.
So what's this guy's story? Yeah.
He's from the family lineage. You know, he comes from the family lineage, and when you're coming from the family lineage, you're almost like the same one coming up. And Aliyev, and his arguments are a complete different argument. He says, listen, this is our land. What do you want us to do? Leave our land. We own this land.
And the land that is in question is Karabakh.
Karabakh, yes. Oh, and for thousands of years, Armenia owned the land. But after Stalin in 1923, I think it's 23, in 1923, he said, no, we're going to make it over here to be controlled, but the Armenians can live there. I think the population is 18% Armenian, by the way, in Karabakh. 18% is Armenian. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not as big as you think, but it is about 19% Armenian. I believe that's the number.
I want to say one thing, and this is something that I've learned, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Tigran Bekian. We've had many conversations about everything that's going on here. Something, that's near and dear to me is obviously being Jewish, the Holocaust, right? In the 1940s, everything happened with Hitler, and that is obviously, the go-to story about genocide. That was World War II. But what people fail to realize is during World War I, right before that, there was an Armenian genocide on the hands of the Ottoman Empire, Turkey, which, correct me if I'm wrong, they fail to recognize. They won't even admit wrongdoing. This is something that Turkey will not own up to. One thing that I respect about Germany is they've owned up to it. I mean, they have not taken down the concentration camps. They tell people to come visit. They will not allow Nazi symbols in Germany. They know that they messed up, obviously, times a billion. what is it with Turkey that they won't even own up to the fact that they've created this genocide of Armenian people?
Well, and then you're vulnerable to repeat history, right? When you have the exact same beliefs. This is a comment that kind of relates to this, but I wish this would come up in the debates. But listen to the names that we've thrown out here in just this conversation: China, Iran, Russia, Turkey, U.S. Our biggest problem in this country right now, and I wish they would address it in the debates, is we don't know who our enemies are. We think it's the Democrats for the Republicans or the Republicans for the Democrats. That's all we spend our time on with this bickering. And I just believe this division that we have in this country is being manufactured, by these bigger superpowers. Yeah. And if we get thrust into this thing, it's going to be big. Because when you look at all the players that are involved and the area that it's in, and that's the biggest problem with this country is we just don't we don't really truly know and identify who our real enemies are.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
That's a very good point.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
Why don't we do that right now? Who's number one enemy right now?
Let's stay on this. Let's stay on this point here because I do want to answer your question because you asked and said
Armenian genocide.
Germany came out and said, hey, we did it. Okay. But they paid a massive price for it. Mm-hmm. I think their last payment of reparations was just in 2018 or some number like that. It's just recently they got done paying off for all the reparations. And I talked to Aram Hamparian, who works out of D.C., representing the Armenian community. Do you know what's the number Armenia is going to ask of Turkey if they say the genocide did take place?
$1 trillion.
It's in the trillions of dollars. This is very basic for them. They don't want to pay reparations. Simple as that. Trillion is a big number. Okay, You're not talking about a small number here. It's reparations. When the genocide took place, there was a whole insurance scam going on behind closed doors of the people that were dying, their policies. That's a whole different story that had to do with Turkey wanting to get even more money on the insurance policies. But this is a very, very ugly thing that took place. And all that needs to happen is America needs to say, it is an event that took place. Congress agreed to it. Senate agreed to it. It went all the way up to President. President said no earlier this year. And but again,
this year,
this just
Trump
happened.
Said no?
It's either this year or it's December, but it's in less than 12 months.
So what happened with that? Unpack that for me.
Exactly what I just told you.
Yeah.
Turkey is an ally.
Of course.
If Turkey becomes an enemy,
NATO,
you lose all control in the Middle East. So the only thing, if Trump comes out, Obama said he'll do it. He didn't do it when he became president. Every one of these guys had said they're going to do it. They haven't done it when they became president. No one's ever done it since they've been president. Bush, all of them have said it. This is an event that happened to win the Armenian vote. No one said yes yet. But if Trump says yes, he wins the 3 million, whatever the amount of people that he's going to win over, right? But he's going to lose Turkey. And Turkey's a much more needed ally for him in the Middle East. It's unfortunate, but that's how he's processing it. It's not that it didn't happen, but I can tell you one thing. It's a money deal, and Turkey does not want to pay the trillions of dollars that they're going to pay, especially in today's money. And it may take them 100 years to pay it off, by the way. This is not like reparations for Germany against the Jewish community.
92 years.
How long?
For World War I, 92 years.
92 years.
World War I, though. That wasn't a...
Yeah, but you're talking about, I'm talking about Nazi Germany.
1941.
I found 92 years. They paid off the last one in 2010.
Okay, last one was paid 2010. 2010.
I mean, that's game changing for two economies, the one paying it and the one receiving it.
Exactly. So that's the part you have to realize with that going on. So anyways, folks, if you're watching this, what we're going to be doing is I'll make an announcement here what's going on. I know the Armenian community, they message me all the time on Instagram, all over the place. I'm getting even texts right now for some of my peers. I want you to know we're in communication with their camp. If my suggestion is a long-form interview to be able to do with the Armenian PM, and they can reach out to us. I know even the Azerbaijani community has reached out saying, what if Ali Ilayev wants to do an interview with you? Would you be open to it? I'm open to figuring out a way to stop this 9th day so it doesn't continue to 10th day. Because I saw videos the other day. My friend Steve sent me a video. Kai, do you have that video that I just sent you? Can you put it up just to kind of see? It's not the worst video. I almost thought about it whether I wanted to show it or not. But, some of the words he's saying, if Kai can get this is probably in Armenian, it's the worst possible words you can be saying. Let's see if Kai can find it.
Shout out to Steve while we pull up his clip.
Steve Avetian. Yeah.
Good boy. Shout out to Rafi's place. If you're in LA, go check that.
All right, check this out. Look at this. This is Armenian soldiers.
Turn that up, guy.
They're walking and they're seeing what the Azerbaijani military did to their people.
Oh my God.
By the way, if you're Armenian, you're listening, you got kids, you may not want your kids to listen to this. The profanity is pretty... Were you waiting for us? Son of a... These are all bodies on the side, by the way. This is what's going on right now. We're not seeing. These are all bodies on the side. And this continues, by the way. If you want to pause it, you get the idea. Yeah, I mean, he just cursed his mother out for what they're doing. So
that was which military?
This is Armenian military.
Yeah.
That is going seeing their soldiers killed, Armenian soldiers killed, of what Azerbaijan did to them. I mean, it's a very the one Instagram I'm going to give a shout out to go follow. The population in Artsakh is 99% Armenia today. That lower number is back when yes, that's right. The population in Artsakh is 99% Armenia today. Back when it was to Azerbaijan, it was 18% Armenian. But today it's 99% Armenian. Artsakh, that community.
Okay, that's the stat that I saw.
So let me give you one Instagram profile, Zarton K Media. If you can post these guys' link below, I kind of want these guys to get some love because they're getting people to follow their stories very closely. And I'll give you another update as well with the stories for people to follow.